Hey there. I would like you to consider the energy behind the concept of the curiosity of creation. Life causes us to ask questions. That's a phrase that has been coming to me. I wrote it down, I think, last week because it kept coming to me. Life causes us to ask questions. And as I had written it down, different thoughts and concepts came to me like, yes, okay, life causes us to ask questions. And then we ask the question and we grow and we expand from the answer. We expand from the next piece of light that is shined upon our path, that illuminates our path as a result of the question that life caused us to ask. Asking questions coming from a place of curiosity. So, and from that place of curiosity, we create, we create, we illuminate, we call into our existence the light that illuminates the next part of our growth. So some of the things that have been causing me to ask questions recently have to do with my health. For a long, long time, I've been experiencing what I would call a persistent internal anxiety. Like I don't know, not necessarily wanting to crawl out of my skin, but a feeling of pressure from inside, like kind of like a go pressure, but not necessarily with the thinking that I have to go, because I can present myself as being calm and collective, but inside my body is feeling pressure inside. And what it came down to was a day, a month or so ago, where I had thoughts and was experiencing symptoms where I'm like, oh my God, am I having a heart attack? Like, what's going on? And for a long time, I would feel, little flutters and things like that. And maybe it probably has a lot to do with me, with my nursing background, of just, knowing, yeah, I'm okay. It's probably just anxiety. I'm okay. It's probably just anxiety. Well, I did go and get it checked out by my provider. And as she was listening to my heart, she's like, well, what's going on right now in your body? I'm like, well, it's doing that thing again. It's doing its thing. And she's like, yeah, I can hear the extra beats. Got some extra beats there. So she did an EKG, and I wore a Zio patch for a week. And a Zio patch is a device that you wear on your chest, and it monitors your heart rhythm 24/7. And when you feel symptoms that are the reason that caused you to go to the doctor in the first place, you push a button on the patch, and there's a log you keep to log your symptoms. During the 7 days that I was wearing the patch, I actually thought, I'm not really feeling that fluttering. I'm worried that my patch isn't going to detect anything, and then after the patch comes off, I'm going to start feeling more flutters. I think that's a natural response in general. And by the way, I had been to the emergency department several years prior because of that same feeling, and they had found nothing when I got there. So I think that probably played into some more of the reasoning on why I just, was thinking, okay, it'll go away, whatever, and didn't go get it checked out to begin with. So, wore the patch, logged my symptoms, sent it in after the 7 days was up, and this past Sunday, which what was the date on Sunday? December 29th. I got a message from my provider saying that the results of my, the results were in from the patch monitoring. And I was having frequent rapid heart rate. She wanted to know if I was available to come into the office at the end of the week or early this next week. And I had read that message and was in the middle of doing other things and really didn't get back to the message until Tuesday. And today's Friday. Not December anymore, it's January 3rd today. It's my brother's birthday today. Happy birthday, Kenny. Yeah, back to that. So I called on Tuesday to make an appointment, and I'm going in on January 13th to talk about treatment options. But as I was looking into the message that she had sent me, I saw a link to my results, and I clicked on that and was reading the like quick response, right? Because there's this big long drawn out thing talking about summarizing everything from the test, but then there's the little quick blurb. And what I saw was that during the 7 days I was wearing that patch, I was experiencing supraventricular tachycardia, a total of 8,412 episodes of that. And an episode, as I read into more of the details, an episode is considered 4 or more beats of the supraventricular tachycardia. So I had 8,412 episodes. And then things started to make sense to me. Like, oh, maybe that's why I've been feeling anxious and this like internal pressure and all of that. And of course, I had the initial human response, which allowed me the opportunity to just witness what is coming up in my thoughts, thoughts of fears, and then fearful thoughts, not thoughts of fears, but fearful, like and emotions and all of those things. I was able to practice what I preach. I was able to practice this. And then after a couple of days of working through the initial internal responses and fearful thoughts, I was able to yesterday start asking myself the questions of creation and of okay, what does this mean? And it's not that I didn't ask that question initially, but the initial energy behind that question had a fearful frequency to it. And now the frequency behind the question is of curiosity. What does this mean? Okay, what does this mean? Where do I go from here? What is my body telling me? What is my body trying to show me? And so then yesterday I started capturing what I might be experiencing when I'm experiencing symptoms, and what thoughts might be going on in my head, what might be happening in my environment. Am I in a situation that's a little more tense and stressful? And then what types of things can I do to meet my body where it's at and then calm it intentionally, to soothe it intentionally? Also, on Monday night, I had a meeting with my friend JJ, who it was a one-on-one session with her that was part of the package of the Quantum Leap, Light Language Quantum Leap program that I had gone through with her. And In that session, we visited my cosmic Akashic records, and some things that came through were the colors of, so I didn't have what I saw in my cosmic Akash was more so of like a blueprint, a template in pink and what I described as teal colors. And water was the big part of it. And JJ had reflected to me during that session that, yeah, I know you work with water. And I always have to stop and remind myself, yeah, I do. I really am called to water in a lot of different ways. And okay, so there's another piece of the puzzle, right? And trying to remember all the components that have kept building now since that session. A guide that came through and then actually integrated into my body, so to be a guide within is a solar Rishi dragon, and that is a new energy for me. And JJ talked about how towards the end of the month I will be fully integrating that soul aspect, higher self aspect, that energy. And at the end of the session, she mentioned, I really feel Quan Yin. I really feel Quan Yin as part of this. So in that moment, I showed her what I had. So in one of my closets, I have all of my crystals and artifacts and things like that set up. And one of them that I purchased, I don't know, 8 months or so ago, is a statue of Quan Yin on top of a Rishi dragon. And I had been drawn to it at the time and purchased it. And I feel love from that statue, I'll put a little picture of it in here. I knew it had a purpose for me, but I didn't know what the purpose was. And then during that session, I realized, okay, it's time to now to get out my little statue and get curious about it, to understand, what is next for me to create with these energies. So then the next day, I recalling that there is a whole chapter on Quan Yin, a whole code activation with Quan Yin in the book, the Sophia Code. I started listening to that chapter, to the Quan Yin chapter, and it describes the experience of suffering, and I forget exactly how it was introduced in the chapter, but almost right away it introduced the colors of pink and aquamarine, which were colors I experienced in my cosmic Akashic records. It talked about water almost immediately. It talked about water, and it talked about what her experience was from suffering into and really using suffering to transform love into love and self-compassion. And it talks about using water to do that. It also talks about where did that go? It talks about Karunā, compassion, and the use of Om Mani Padme Hum as a way to experience that Karunā compassion, a gateway, a portal, so to speak, to open up to self-compassion. And I'm almost to the end of that part of the book now. I'm listening to it on my way to work. And as I'm listening this morning, it talks about it talks about Quan and how a dragon comes in to be her friend in guiding her to the experience, to the culmination, the epitome doesn't feel like the right word, the pinnacle of realizing that self-compassion and healing the inner child, and how that dragon is a companion in that. So all things are coming into focus here for me. Another part of it is, as I was listening to the portion on suffering yesterday, it talks about how she essentially became like a wild animal living on her own after the destruction of her village and loss of family and everything. And I really had the urge to howl. Like when they were talking about that, I'm like, oh my God, I feel like I want to howl. So I did. And what I realized in that moment was that howling causes your body to be in a state of bearing down. And bearing down is one of the I would say holistic interventions for supraventricular tachycardia. A lot of times, if people have an episode, they'll say, like cough or bear down like you're having a bowel movement or something like that. And that can help reset the electrical activity and all that in the heart. So I saw things coming full circle there and began to get curious. So many things are coming into focus for me as a result of just understanding or learning as a result of a medical diagnosis. I am gaining that curiosity of creation. In that term, curiosity of creation came to me as well as I was listening this morning. I had never thought of it in that way before. So. Okay, it looks like this is a longer video, 17 minutes. Yikes. Oh, okay. So I really feel called to share more about this journey with you and the journey of Karunā compassion. I will likely be creating more videos about it. But for now, I think this is enough. So I hope that you all have a great day. And in the meantime, enjoy the expansion, my friends.